Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Rachel Mueller-Lust, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our meeting on Spanish and English television advertising effectiveness among Hispanics. So with that, I'd like to invite Barbara to begin the presentation. Thank you.
Wild applause.
Nielsen ratings are a count of how many people had an opportunity to see a particular ad because they were watching the program in which it aired or they were watching during the commercial break. IAG measures the response of those viewers, how engaged they were with the program that they were watching, how engaged they were with the ads that aired within the program, and as well, branded integrations that may have taken place during the program. How do we do that? Our panelists watch television. They then, within 24 hours, come to our website and answer questions about the episode that they watched in that particular show, and as well about some of the ads that aired during that show, and again, the integrations that may have taken place. What we have done is taken this entire infrastructure and process and rebuilt it entirely in the Spanish language to measure the program content on Telemundo and Univision and the ads that air within it. We launched August 1st of 2007, and we have been actively recruiting Spanish-speaking panelists by advertising on Spanish language portals, which is the same approach that we use to collect our English-speaking panelists. Bilingual panelists can toggle back and forth, and you can, if you watched a program in English the night before, take that survey in English, and if you watched another program or two in Spanish on Telemundo or Univision, you identify those shows and you answer those in Spanish. We have over 20,000 registered Spanish-speaking panelists at this point that have come in through our Spanish language recruiting. How do Hispanic viewers respond to the English language ads that they see on English language programs? So my first chart here is looking at Hispanic panelists, people who are bilingual to some degree, okay? They speak some English, enough that they came in through our English portal and answered questions about English language programming. And what you see is that the English dominant, the ones who use English most of the time, have a much higher recall of ads that air in English language programming than do those who are Spanish dominant. And it is a direct fall off, which makes complete sense. You are going to be more attentive to things and have a higher recall as your flat-out ability to comprehend improves. So if anyone was saying, do I really need to be on Spanish language television? If they're coming in to watch general market, aren't I going to reach my bilingual Hispanic viewer in that way? The answer is yes, but not nearly as well as you do reach the general market. So now we're looking at the height of the bar reflects the overall general recall for ads that were translated from an English version airing on Spanish language television. Spanish dominant Hispanics viewing translated ads on Spanish language television are just about as likely to recall those ads as are general market English speaking viewers to recall an ad on general market television. When we add on and look at the impact of original ads that were created specifically for the Hispanic market, we see that the Spanish dominant recall is even higher. So there are more engaged with these ads, and the memorability impact of these ads, these Spanish language originals, among Spanish dominant is even better. They're more attentive to ads, more attentive to these ads in particular, than is the general market norm. And you've reached the general market norm with the Hispanics that are more acculturated and speaking more English in their daily lives. So we've talked about general recall. How memorable is the ad? Now we want to talk about branding. What does it take to break through? And I'm going to use this same stacked bar construct throughout the rest of this meeting. to first talk about brand linkage. So when Spanish-speaking individuals come in and watch English language programming, they are far less likely to correctly attribute the brand, even if they do remember the ad, than is the English language norm. That's the difference between the height of the blue and the red norm bar, right? So they're less likely to remember it to begin with, and then on top of that, if you remember it, less likely to correctly attribute the brand. When we look at the performance of those translated ads against the Spanish dominant are just about as effective as is an English language ad against the general market. So again, the translated ads on average work just as well in Spanish as the English language ads work against an English-speaking consumer on English language networks. So when we look at the appeal, remember these blue bars reflect English language ads in English language programming, okay? So high likability linkage for Hispanics, even especially Spanish dominant, coming into English language programming and watching the ads. When you compare that to the norm for the English market, it's astronomical, right? I look at this personally, and I look at the height of the bars above the norm, and that to me, much if not all of that, looks and feels to me like the impact of those cultural affinities that we were talking about. So there's a base level of appeal of an ad. The more acculturated they are, the more they are achieving or declining to the general market norm in terms of response to ads. So these are the same ads. These people are responding to the same ads in this example. Now, when we add on, how well do these Hispanics like the ads they're seeing in Spanish language programming? Across the board, you're reaching 90%. Those of you who have worked with IAG and heard us talk in the marketplace about advertising know that we've been able to quantify the impact of the relationship between program engagement and ad recall. The more engaged with the program content, the more likely that viewer is to recall the ads that air within it. So what that means for the marketers is you are better served by placing your ads in those programs that are highly engaging than in those that are not, because the same ad will perform differently depending on where it's aired.
We made a significant investment at Telemundo when we saw the power of this information, and we made the investment because for many years in the Hispanic market, I've been in the Hispanic market for 16 years now, and for many years we've been saying exactly what this proves: that ads that run in Spanish language media are more effective as a whole than ads that run in general market media, and this is something that substantiates it. And obviously the numbers prove it. Not only do the numbers prove it, but we have an opportunity through IAG. As you know, Telemundo is the only Spanish language network that does product integration because we have original content. And because we have IAG now, we can actually measure our integrations within our original content. So it's a twofold situation for us. The last is, of course, it's a service that we can provide to the advertising community to help you with your creative and help you to measure your creative for your client's sake.
Oswald, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Mike said it best. I think what this sort of research does, it sort of validates what we've been saying for quite some time, and anecdotally we've been saying, and one of research studies that have been done in the market. But I mean, this is an ongoing tool that we can utilize to sort of leverage and benchmark what we're doing, and it keeps us honest from the advertising agency perspective as well.
Really, the reason why we launched measurement of Spanish television was that so many of the advertisers that are using our data to understand the effectiveness in English television really urged us to measure Spanish TV because they thought it was important. It was important for their advertising and marketing plans.
Our market is maturing, and advertisers are seeing it as an opportunity. Frankly, we feel in the Hispanic market that there is somewhat of an oversaturation of ads that viewers have seen time and time again on general market television. And frankly, the Hispanic audience hasn't seen these ads. It's a brand new audience. It's a ripe audience for consumption.
I want to personally, and I know you do, want to thank our 2 panelists for coming in. And I think I don't want to change your behavior. You spent an hour and 100 minutes with us. Thank you very much. We'll
Thank
be
you.
around. Thank you. That's the end of our first meeting.